Good evening. Johnno here with Simon, who I feel like I haven't seen in months, quite frankly.
What, 2 days, yeah.
Although, 2 days, yeah. But, that's how much I care about you. 48 hours seems like a lifetime. We could sit here and we actually haven't had the chance to talk to each other about the England debacle yet, but tonight's not the time. We'll do that privately. But finally, we've managed to see a close game in this year's World Cup, and what a relief it is.
Well, yeah, it looked like it was close. Although, judging by the scorecards, you get the feeling if Afghanistan wanted to put the foot down, they could have probably knocked it off in 45 overs. So, yeah, I mean, you obviously watched a lot of it. What are your thoughts? It looks like Pakistan didn't really get enough, and then Afghanistan cruised it.
I mean, it's a dicking, really. If you look at the scorecard and you think about, I had a look at the Super Brews. There are only 2 people back to Afghanistan in our pool of 52 people. So they've, but even then, I think they went Afghanistan comfortable. I think that's an Afghanistan thrash as per Super Brew.
No, I don't think it is, because I think it's too close because of the amount of balls.
If you win by 8 wickets, I think it's a thrashing. I think that would be the. So yeah, I mean, look, Rashid bowled well. The one who didn't bowl well from an Afghanistani spinner point of view was Mujib. Then Noor Ahmed bowled really well, 3 for 49 off 10. And they just squeezed, really. I think Iftikhar came in and bashed it at the end. Shadab Khan did pretty well. Mohammad Rizwan, who's been brilliant for the entire tournament, just looked all at sea. Just looked like he couldn't pick Noor Ahmed at all. So just reverted to the sweep all the time, and then tried to sweep one that was probably 2 feet outside off stump when he collided with it and got caught at short fine legs. So Abdullah Shafiq looked good. Imam looked okay, but it was just a bit. I think the Afghans bowled brilliantly, and then I don't think that the Pakistanis were able to exert any kind of near the same amount of pressure with their spinners. So they went in with 3 frontline spinners today, 4 rather than 3. They would normally, in terms of Nabi, Mujib and Rashid Khan, they went in with 4. But Australia definitely played on this wicket before. Hence why Afghanistan brought in the fourth seamer in Noor Ahmed. And yeah, I just think that Afghanistan outplayed Pakistan today. It's pretty much as simple as that. I think the way they batted, it was fantastic. Obviously, both the openers, Gurbaz and Ibrahim, did fantastically well. They lost the first wicket 130. And from there, so Ramat Shah, 77 off 84, and then the captain came in, the left-hander, Hashmat. Early in his innings, I was thinking I could get him out. He looked, and he's had a terrible start to the tournament, but to be fair to him, he just stuck around and did the job that he had to do. And, for Afghanistan, who've never beaten Pakistan before, to win by 8 wickets in a World Cup is a massive result.
Well, so the one thing I will say is they seem to have a clue about what they want, how they want to play. They know that their game plan is pressure. No matter what score they get, they'll put pressure on with their spinners. Their seamers aren't necessarily of that kind of caliber that some of the rest of the world have got, but they have 2, 3, possibly 4 today, world-class spinners. I mean, that Noor Ahmed, he made his debut today in a World Cup, that he played Big Bash cricket. He's done.
He played in the IPL, but he's only 18.
Yeah, which is astounding. I think he played in the Big Bash at 16, didn't he? So they clearly have a game plan. And one of the things that we spoke about before, me and you talking about, is that they have a clue as to how they want to play. I don't think they're going to sit there and get 350 unless the 2 openers get millions, because they go out and play a few shots. But you look at that, Ibrahim today's got 87 off 113. So he's giving himself a chance looking at it. But yeah. If you just watched a few highlights, you don't want to bowl outside off stump to either of them, because they will rush you through the offside. But then I suppose the one thing we said in the preview, that from the couple of bits of certainly the highlights I saw and watching Pakistan, what are your thoughts about the Pakistan? No, mind spinners. We weren't sure about them anyway beforehand, but Shaheen Shah Afridi, Hassan Ali, Harish Rauf. Do you reckon they've been?
I mean, look, Harish Rauf had a brilliant World Cup in Australia, didn't he? In the T20 World Cup back in the last year. And he is an X-factor bowler, as is Shaheen Shah. I don't think it's probably swung for him as much, Shaheen Shah I'm talking about, as he probably needed to. Yes, he got 5 for the other day, and he's a world-class bowler. There's no question in that. But, bowlers have off days. Their fielding wasn't awful. It wasn't great, though, you'd say. They let a few boundaries slip just through kind of getting one paw on it rather than 2, and it just deflecting into the boundary when they're running around for it. The big surprise is Haris Rauf for me. He has gone the distance in pretty much every game he's bowled in so far. I don't know whether they're bowling him at the wrong time. Is he not using enough variations often enough? I don't think lads are scared by pace. I don't think anybody in the top 6 of any tier 1 or 2 side is scared of facing 93, 94 mile an hour anymore. I don't think pace worries them, because they will be. So, I may have said this before, but Josh De Silva, when he's playing for the West Indies, he reckons there's a coach there who can let go of a sidearm at 125 mile an hour. And this is what those lads are used to facing in training. So actually 90 miles an hour doesn't really, the pace on its own doesn't really worry these lads. And so Haris Rauf bowling, yes, he can get up to 92, 93 miles an hour, but on slow decks, especially a used wicket, if he bowls in the slot, it's just going to sit up and beg to be crashed, isn't it? So I don't think, short answer to your question is that I just don't think the Pakistani bowling attack has fired in the way in which any of us would have expected it to. Certainly in conditions that you would expect to be not a million miles away from what they experience at home on a regular basis.
I see what you're saying. I think when it comes to variations and stuff, I think this has been a World Cup where people have bowled too many variations. I think there's been, you've seen when you look at the Dutch, for example, when they've won their games, you look at some of the other guys when sides have been got bowled out. For example, you look at England the other day, that people weren't running in bowling variations. People running in just trying to hit the top of our stump. There's been enough in it in certain stages, whether that be cross seamers, whether that be it's swinging a bit early on, that suggests that if you just run in and hit an area, the more kind of Glenn McGrath style type of bowler, obviously he was the best to ever do that kind of thing. So there's a hell of a.
But he proved it worked in all conditions, didn't it? Because he got wicket in all conditions.
And you can go, well, we've been joking on one of the group chats that India last night against New Zealand didn't bowl anything but Yorkers at the end. It was like they'd gone back 15 years in how you bowl. Mohammed Shami, for example, bowls length, just full of a length, swings it about a bit, gets wickets with a new ball, then comes in at a death and just bowls full and straight. Yeah, we had one ball where he parked him over his head, but you've seen these guys at what a bowling attacks are doing. And it's why I'll give Afghanistan credit again, because they're using their spinners and they're bowling them well, they're bowling to a plan. They don't seem to have, or if they have got a plan, it doesn't seem to be the right one. And I think from what I say, what I saw today, the Pakistan bowlers just look short of a plan.
I think if we're honest, and this isn't take anything away from a phenomenal result for Afghanistan, I think if they were ever going to do well in a World Cup, you would expect it probably to be in India, because the conditions will be most like what they're used to playing. They play the majority of the cricket in the UAE and what have you, where it'll turn and what have you. But then again, you're coming up against Pakistan, who, by the same token, would expect to know the conditions reasonably well as well. So it's interesting. Look, I mean, it's a phenomenal result. Only their third ever World Cup win, the first time they've ever beaten Pakistan, I think, in 17 attempts.
Yeah.
Or maybe 18, including today. But yeah, I mean, phenomenal for them. And just goes to show what can be done. We've said previously we expect this to be a World Cup where all sides will lose games, probably to some of the tier 2 nations, as we've been referring to them. Yeah. And today is just gone to prove that again.
Yeah, what you brings us nicely on to what your thoughts about tomorrow, South Africa, Bangladesh.
I can kind of only see it going one way. I think Bangladesh have proven themselves to be the car horse that you predicted pre-tournament. I think South Africa will just have too much for them. I just think that, we talked about South Africa only not really having a top 6. Well, after what Marco Jansen did to our bowling attack the other night, you can say that's now a genuine top 7. He's not going to do it every week, but the lad has got massively long levers and can park it into the middle of the next week, given the balls on length. I mean, some of the shots here to balls back a length. He hit a flat one over cover the back of the length ball the other day. I can't remember who was bowling it, maybe Mark Wood. But the lad can play, and I just think that unless it's very spin friendly, but even then, I think if they think it's going to be spin friendly, they probably pick Shamsi as well as Maharaj and drop one of the seamers. So
yeah, and they've got Markram that can bowl a decent
offies as well. Yeah. So I would be very surprised to see South Africa not get up in that game tomorrow, if I'm completely honest.
I
agree.
I agree, mate. I just think they'll have too much. You look at all their batting, obviously they've potentially got a bit of a dilemma tomorrow with who they're going to pick batting wise, because Bavuma obviously didn't play against England, but there's looked in good Nick. Yeah. And Rita Hendricks came in, and he looks unplayable.
I mean, it'd be incredibly harsh to drop him,
Yeah,
I don't think Bavuma was looked great touch. To be fair,
he's captain as well. Then I think he's captain relatively well. Yeah, Markram I know does the T20 stuff. But you said you'd say they've got 6, like you say, they've probably got 8 batters that look in reasonable nick. If you include Jansen in that as that kind of batting, bowling all round as well. And I think bowling wise, they seem to know what they want to try and do. It seems to me to be quite formulaic. Like the other day when they're battering England, but they decide to bring Maharaj on. It's like, as someone literally said, after 12 overs, this is guys that can bowl.
This is what we do.
Is that what they're doing?
I think for Mark, with them playing Bangladesh tomorrow, it'd be interesting for me to see if Bavuma has not recovered from his summit ball to give Hendricks another go and see how he gets on. I think he would be the only question. Bavuma would be the only question for me in that top 6.
Not Klassen, no.
No, not Klassen. In this tournament, Markram scored the fastest ever one-day 100. Van der Dussen's in great form. De Kock went back-to-back hundreds, games 1 and 2. So I think that although...
Got to pick on form, though, haven't you? Got to pick on form.
Yeah, all right. I just think that if there is anybody who is susceptible to being dropped at the minute, I know he's captain, but this is a World Cup. And, Reza Hendricks has come out and blazed, what did he get, 80 odd in the other day? And batted very well. Looked, watchful early doors, as he should have been, quite frankly. It's his first game of the tournament at live view, but then as soon as he got in, he hit a 4, I think, in the 3rd over on his 13th delivery or something, and never looked back. So, I think it would be, I think maybe they give him another go and just say that Bavuma's not quite fit enough after this stomach bug that he came up with.
Because England did and completely changed the balance of the side to try and get another player in.
Exactly.
Hopefully.
And then use Markram as a frontline bowling option.
Why not?
But they do expect the conditions to start becoming more spin friendly throughout the tournament. So, maybe it could be a case of South Africa being able to pick an extra batter with Markram. And, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
To be fair, that is to be expected when you're playing a World Cup across 3 separate seasons.
Yeah. So, although it depends if the monsoons do actually start to come a bit earlier, because then it might...
I'm starting to wait for the time that England called Darren Stevens up for them little medium-pace wobblers.
So, talking of England, we found out the A-list world-class replacement for Reece Topley today, haven't we? Bryden Carse has been added to the squad.
I think Tom and Sam Curran's dad has obviously done something to Mr. Mott, because how Tom Curran has him in, bearing in mind what England are missing at the minute.
Yeah, 100% agree. What a year he's had.
Yeah, and he's had that. They've gone from the squad that they picked, and they're that sort of list of reserves that they had, and their squad that was picked to play in New Zealand and Ireland and that sort of thing, and Carse was in that. So from that point of view, can't really argue with it.
Just before we finish, I don't know if you realise this, I don't know if you listened to today's episode, but you and I agreed on something without actually ever talking about it.
Mate, it's going to be regular. I'm going to have to start
You're going to have to go a bit rogue and just start saying ridiculous things when we don't agree.
I thought I'd been rogue saying the thing about Bangladesh because I thought I'd be really harsh, and I've turned out to be right. So
Yeah. But I mean, just to 30 seconds for it's the first time we've had a chance, but it is a bit too close to 2015 for comfort, isn't it? What if we don't make the semis and we lose another couple of games and end up 8th or even 7th? What does the next cycle look like?
Well,
Joe Rogan came out and said
we're 10th at the minute. So flat bottom.
Joe Rogan's come out overnight and said we don't play enough 50 over cricket.
Does anyone? I mean, this is what makes me like that.
But he's not talking about. He's saying he wants it to replace the blast. That's come out on BBC Sport today in an interview. Where
do you know what? I kind of get that.
But then if we don't play T20, what happens in the next T20 World Cup?
Well, we do because we play the 100.
But not T20.
Well, no, it may as well be. Said to you guys, I think there'll be some changes anyway. I think I made a pact when we started doing this podcast that I would never say I think someone should resign or I think someone should be sacked or whatever, because I think everyone's always got room to grow. But while Rob Key got it absolutely bang on with Brendan McCullum test team, I think Matthew Mott still has quite a little bit to prove. I'm not saying he can't prove it. And at the end of the day, we're not out of the World Cup. We weren't quite in this dire situation in 2019. That we were in a very similar one where we had 5 games left and we had to win all 5.
Yeah.
So, and this time it's 7 games left and we've got to win all 7. So
that's including the semi and the final, obviously.
Yeah. So, and that's to give us a chance. And so we can do it. But something for me, there needs to be, from a player's point of view more than anything, because a coach can only do so much. And that's why I'm saying I'm not going to sit here and say he should be sacked or whatever. The players have got to take an amount of responsibility. For me, the batters have got to take an awful lot of responsibility for the way they've played. They've got a thing that they want to chase, which is fine, but we haven't looked like being able to chase a score. We look like we've got one way of chasing a score. It doesn't matter whether we're chasing 150 or whether we're chasing 500. We could not get there on either one of them. And so, and you've seen again, I hate to keep harping on about it because I feel like a broken record with it. When batters in this tournament give themselves a chance, they score runs.
Yeah.
You've seen today with that run chase from Afghanistan. You've seen with teams setting totals. Barbara Azam today, excellent play, gave himself a chance, gets 80.
Yeah.
These guys are good enough to catch up at the end. Even Janssen the other day had 30 at a run a ball.
Yeah.
I think he got
70 off 4 minutes, wasn't it? Yeah.
So, yeah. Like we've seen these guys, and they're no better ball strikers than England guys have got. You tell me about a ball striker in the world than Liam Livingstone, Josh Butler, Ben Stokes, aren't they? And this is a question I wanted to ask you. We're going to have to wrap this up pretty short, otherwise Eugene will rip the roads. So anyone who says when you want to chase 400, you've got to go at the start. I'll stand there and I'll question that, and I'll go right.
Well, if they did, we should just mirror what they did, surely. That's the,
Yeah, but as a batter, would you rather need to strike at 100, it'd be 20 not out, or would you think, I've got to go at 130 from ball 1?
Yeah.
That for me is a simple equation. If you're 20 not out, do you back yourself to go at strike rate 150? Yes or no? So if you do the maths on it, you're going to end up 150 not out off 110 balls.
Yeah, look, I think it's really interesting. I mean, I went out and opened the batting this year needing the team to score 422 in 50 overs. But, having captained the first half and then I was a bit frazzled, and I just tried to hit a boundary a ball. Got 18 and got out, and then actually sat there and thought, well, actually, maybe if I'd have played this a little bit differently, got myself, because I am someone who can catch up and who generally strikes it pretty hard anyway. So, but look, pressure does funny things to you. People talk about runs on the board, and it do, in big games, runs on the board, even if you get in a 50 over game, you bowled out for 230. 230 seems a long way away when you're chasing it in a big game. So, pressure does funny things to people. So I don't think it's a hard and fast rule one way or the other, but I do agree with your point and think that, you don't need to go out and start blazing it straight away. Give yourself a chance. Yeah. And then, you that way you're giving you the best opportunity. You can't score runs being sat back down in the sheds, right?
No, your strike rate when you're out is not going to be high.
Exactly. So, yeah. Simon, brilliant to see you, mate. It will be you and Eugene tomorrow, I believe. I'll be having a night off to
Eugene doing South Africa again.
So yeah, South Africa against Bangladesh, isn't it? So yeah, I will be back with you on Wednesday, for Thursday. And Simon, I will see you on Thursday for Friday.
Indeed.
Right. Take care, guys. Lots of love. See you soon.
Bye.